The air in Genoa City had been thick with secrets all summer, but nothing compared to the seismic tremors about to ripple through its families. Two relationships, one fragile and new, the other tested and tarnished, were on the verge of collapse. What no one expected was that the fallout would intertwine, setting the stage for a shocking chain reaction. Kyle's bold move. Claire Grace had grown used to walking on eggshells. Her journey from outsider to tentative member of the Newman Circle had been paved with suspicion and second chances. That's why, when Kyle Abbott leaned across society's table and dropped his revelation, she nearly spilled her sparkling water. "You can't be serious," Claire whispered, her voice low but shaking. "Oh, I'm dead serious," Kyle replied, the trademark Abbott confidence radiating from his smirk. "I don't just want you at Jabot, Claire. I want you at my side, in every sense." It was bold. Too bold. Claire had been quietly dating Kyle, testing what it meant to build something after her dark past. But this wasn't just about romance. Kyle had decided to make her his partner, both professionally and personally, in one sweeping declaration. "I've already spoken to my father," Kyle continued, ignoring her stunned silence. "Jack knows this isn't some fling. You've got instincts, Claire. You deserve a chance to prove yourself, and I want us to do it together." The words hung in the air like a chandelier about to crash. Claire's mind reeled. Could she really step into Abbott business territory while her footing with Kyle was still so unsteady? More importantly, was this a genuine gesture of love, or Kyle's way of using her to gain leverage in his never-ending war with his family? Her heart wanted to believe him. Her head screamed caution. And in Genoa City, the head often won. But before Claire could respond, the doors of society burst open, dragging all eyes to the next explosion of drama. Nate reaches his breaking point. Audra Charles thrived on control. She curated every word, every outfit, every glance like a chess master planning 6 moves ahead. But even she hadn't anticipated how far Nate Hastings had been pushed. He entered the restaurant with his jaw set like stone, his eyes cold. There was no mistaking it. This wasn't a man ready for dinner. This was a man ready for war. "Nate," Audra purred, standing to greet him, a flicker of unease hiding behind her practiced smile. "I was just about to order." "What's wrong?" "What's wrong?" Nate's voice cut through the chatter around them. "What's wrong is you've been playing me for a fool, Audra. And I'm done." Gasps floated from nearby tables. Even Kyle and Claire froze, their private storm suddenly eclipsed by Nate's thunder. Audra's mask slipped. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know enough," Nate snapped. "I know you've been working every angle, making deals behind my back, cozying up to Newman execs like you're still running the place. You don't want a partner, Audra, you want a pawn. And I refuse to be yours any longer." Her face hardened. "Careful, Nate. You walk away from me, and you walk away from the only ally who still believes in you." But Nate had already made up his mind. "Then I'll find someone else who believes in me. Someone who doesn't see me as a means to an end." And with that, he turned on his heel and strode out of society, leaving Audra momentarily speechless for the first time in years. The spoiler reveal. Outside, Nate pulled out his phone, his hands trembling. Not from regret, but from adrenaline. Ending things with Audra had been long overdue. The real question was, where to go now? Who could he trust in a town where betrayal was currency? His thumb hovered over a number, one he hadn't dialed in far too long. A person whose steadiness and insight had once grounded him when the world spun too fast. The screen lit up with the name, Victoria Newman. He pressed call. "Victoria," Nate said when she answered, his voice softer now. "I need to see you. Tonight." The spoiler was no longer hidden. Nate Hastings was turning back to the woman he once nearly built a life with, the woman whose absence had left a void he couldn't admit until now. The domino effect. Back inside, Claire watched the drama unfold, her pulse racing. Kyle leaned back in his chair, oddly satisfied. "That," he said, gesturing toward the door Nate had stormed out of, "is what happens when you settle for the wrong partner. Don't make the same mistake, Claire." His words struck deeper than he realized. Claire wasn't blind. She saw how quickly Genoa City couples burned hot and burned out. She wanted more than fire, she wanted trust. And right now, she wasn't sure if Kyle Abbott was capable of giving her that. Maybe, Claire murmured, her voice steadier now. What I want is to find myself before I lose myself in someone else's war. For once, Kyle was the one left speechless. Victoria's temptation. Meanwhile, at the Newman Ranch, Victoria listened intently as Nate recounted everything. Audra's manipulation, his sense of betrayal, and his decision to finally walk away. You did the right thing, Victoria assured him, her eyes locking onto his with a familiar spark. Audra was always out for herself. Nate exhaled, the tension in his shoulders loosening. I don't know why I let it go on so long. Maybe I thought I deserved it after everything that happened between us. Victoria reached across the table, her hand brushing his. You don't deserve to be used, Nate. You deserve someone who sees you for who you are. The air between them shifted, thick with old feelings resurfacing. It was as though no time had passed at all. Victoria, Nate began, his voice trailing off. She smiled faintly, her eyes flickering with both caution and desire. Let's not rush. But maybe this is our second chance. The cliffhanger. By the end of the night, Genoa City's landscape had changed. Kyle's bold gamble left Claire questioning whether she could risk her hard-won redemption for love. Nate's dramatic exit shattered his ties to Audra but reopened the door to Victoria, a door that could lead to salvation or to another spiral of power games. And in true Genoa City fashion, none of these choices would remain private for long. Secrets had a way of bleeding into daylight, and alliances had a way of snapping under the slightest pressure. For Claire, for Kyle, for Nate, and for Victoria, the real question wasn't whether they could handle love. It was whether they could survive the fallout.